art stars. Today we're going to create a self-portrait, and it's going to be a cubist portrait in the style of an artist called Pablo Picasso. I've got a couple of examples here. So here's a few that I did earlier. Now I advise that you pause the video here and just have a little look on the internet at Picasso's portraits to get an idea and a feel of his work. But you'll see his portraits are cubist artworks, and with cubist artworks, with portraits, we see a lot of three-dimensional elements of the shape. So for example, here we get the side profile on my example of the face, but then it's squashed down into a whole face. So we're not just seeing the side, we're seeing the full face, but half of the face is the side profile, then the other half is the other side straight on. Or here I've sectioned the face off into different areas and put different patterns inside. So we can be really creative and free with this. It doesn't have to look like a realistic picture of a person. If it's a portrait of yourself, like I say, a self-portrait is good. If, although it's not realistic, it can have elements of you in there, so when people look at it they know it's referring to you. So you might have some glasses, you might put the glasses on here, you might colour it using your favourite colours, or do your hairstyle. So I copied my hairstyle onto this piece with the fringe coming over and use some of my favourite colours. Or you might do some patterns if there's you put the shoulders on, put some patterns on the clothes which are reminiscent or similar to your favourite clothes. So I'm going to go through some examples on paper. We're going to have a little play and an experiment with how we can put different faces together, where we can put things. And you can see they are really quite abstract. So we have eyes in different places, mouths in different places. It doesn't have to be proportional at all. And I'll talk a bit more about that as we go through. And what you're going to need is a jar or container of water. I've actually got a couple here, so I don't have to go and get clean water, but really important to remember to keep getting clean water as we go. A few sheets of paper. Watercolour paper is ideal for when we do our painting. And some different brushes. And a pencil. And it might be a good idea to have an eraser to hand in case you make a mistake as well. Not essential though. And I'm going to use watercolour paints today. Okay. So I'm just going to move my camera down. So what I'm going to do to start is I'm just going to have an experiment and get some ideas onto paper. So here's one I did earlier. So these are different faces we could do, and you can do as many of these as you like. It can be on the back of your picture or just on a separate sheet. Just getting out different ideas for how we could put a face together. Like I say, you might have some which are proportional, but we're making different facial features, like the nose look three-dimensional still, or it could be completely abstract like this. We could have, for example, eyes or glasses going down the side, noses at the top of the head. It's just about having a little play now before we move on to the final painting, and then we can choose our favourite design and develop it to get it exactly how we want it. So just in my pencil, I'm just going to pop a few different ideas down, whatever comes into my head. So I might start with an oval shape head like this. And I think I've already shown you two examples of two females here. This one's inspired from myself, my hairstyle, or my likes. Colours that I like. I might try doing some different characters now, so they won't just be self-portraits, just to give you some ideas for yours. Okay, so I've done a circle. If I was going to do one that's proportional, the eyes on most people come about 50% of the way down the face, or about a third of the way down, so just above half way. So you could put some eyes in the middle if you wanted to have some proportional elements. And yeah, do a circle inside for the iris, and then a small circle for the pupil. And then the nose, I want to draw the nose as if it's three-dimensional, but then it's being flattened out. And for the mouth, I could do a line coming down, and I might do different mouth shape on each side and alter each side of the face slightly. Put eyelashes on one, not on the other. Give it some eyebrows. Do one eyebrow really high. So there's one. For the next one, you know, it doesn't have to be a circle for the face. It could be another geometric shape, like a square or a rectangle. Let's try a rectangular face. There we go. And I'm going to put some ears on. Put one low, one a little bit higher. I'm going to do a closed eye like this, and one that's open. I think I'm going to do one eye sideways like this. And I think I'm going to do a side profile as well on this one, like I've done for my first picture. So do a line down, a nose, and then a line down. So it's as if it's one side of the face where we'd only see half of the facial features, so one eye and half the mouth, but then the other half of the face we're seeing an abstract face. Let's do a mouth on that side and a line on the other one. My character some cheeks. I'll give this one a hat as well. And a beret. And yeah, just watch me for this bit and make up a few of your own, or you might take inspiration from some of the faces that I do and just alter them slightly to make them your own. Let's try a triangle face. And I think you'll find once you do a few, if you're maybe overthinking at first, it will help you free up your creativity. You'll become a lot freer with your drawing. So again, I've got another side profile. I'm going to do the eyes in completely different places here. I'm going to put the mouth up here. Put some eyebrows in different places. There we go. And I might do another oval for the face here. What am I going to do here? I think let's try and do one which is a little bit more proportional, but adding in 3D elements. So again, the eyes come about just above halfway on the face generally. Like I say, everyone's unique, we're all different, but these are the rough guidelines, rough proportions when we're drawing. One of my eyes is a bit small, that's fine. For what we're doing, there we go. Then I start with the nose at the top. And this is in a lot of Picasso's portraits. He drew noses this way. So again, they look really quite three-dimensional. For the mouth would normally come halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin. There we go. I'm just going to try and make it look a little bit more 3D. You could add lighter and darker areas, different amounts of shading and toning, showing the contours on the face, different lines. There we go. And so on. If you just want to fill up your page with some different faces, do as many as you want. It can take as long as you need with doing this. If you want to just, if you get into a bit of an artistic flow and you want to create a few pages worth, that's brilliant. And then we can choose our favourite to work with for our painting. Brilliant. So, get my watercolour paper. And I'm going to have a look and choose one of my favourite characters to use for my picture. Like I say, you might have quite a few of these designs on paper, and you just want to personalise it a little bit to make it look like yourself. Or, like I say, not it doesn't have to be realistic, but have elements that you have in the picture. So when we're looking at illustrations, in artwork or slightly abstract portraits, like I say, the aim of the artist isn't to make the piece look realistic, but we still want to get a feel of the person that it's conveying, that it's supposed to be of. So I think I'm going to do, I quite like this one here. So this isn't of me, this is just one I'm going to do to give you some ideas, as it's a bit different to my other two, and I'm using different shapes. So I'm going to do like a big rectangle. Like this. It's going to be the face. I'm going to do the neck. And I'll do some, I've got quite a lot of room, so I'll do some shoulders coming off the page like this. I'm going to do a side portrait, and as you do the final one, you might change your mind about things. You might want to develop them, so you might think, oh, this looks better this way. I might change the positioning of some of the facial features. That's absolutely fine. That's called development, an idea development. I'm going to do the ears in different places. I think I'm going to do one quite high up here, then one quite low down here. And I'm going to do an eye on the side. I think I'm going to do an eyelid as well. And on this side, I'll make it a bit more proportional, so I'll do the eye just above halfway. So I guess we've got one more, slightly more realistic side on my one here, and then one which is really quite abstract. And we can change scale as well, so you might have one really small eye, one really big eye. Gonna do a mouth that goes across but changes on both sides, like that. I like to give, when I'm drawing my characters, cheeks in my illustrations. So give some cheeks there, a big one, a small one. Give the character some eyebrows. Go, and some hair. Do a different style on this side. I think I'll give my character a beret. Lots of Picasso's works, the characters have berets or hats on. And there we go. So there's my character. I want to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So when I add paint, I can apply different layers of colour and lighter and darker areas to add to the dimensions, like we do with shading. And another thing to bear in mind, when you look on the internet at Picasso's paintings, his portraits, for a lot of them, for his portraits of other people, you see he uses a lot of different shades of blue. And blue's a cool colour. So violet, blue, bluey purple, these are cool colours. And they give us a feeling of, yeah, being cool, being chilled. And sometimes, yeah, a feeling of something obviously not being warm or not being comfortable, something maybe not being quite right. And with a lot of Picasso's portraits of other people, he'd paint people in very desperate situations, like beggars, homeless people, all done in different shades of blue. And again, this is to give a feel of the desperation and not feeling cozy and warm and safe. Whereas if we use warm colours like reds, pinks, oranges, they give us quite a warm, happy feel. Or if the colour's overused, if it's too hot, it can give us it can be a warning sign for danger, or give us a feel that the situation is dangerous. So you might want to think about that with your work. You might want to even that out by having warm and cool colours on there, if it's a portrait of yourself, or you might just want to use some colours that you like, your favourite colours. It's always a good idea to do a bit of colour mixing to get the shades you want. So I think I'm going to mix some colours, and I'm going to do that by, I'm going to pop some water. I'm just using the tin of my paint here for the palette. It's going to pop some water, nice lot of water on the inside of my palette. So it's going to be quite watery, and I'd like to make a green, and with my paint here you can make a really nice khaki green just by using, I'm just going to use some navy blue, some dark blue. Just bear in mind when you're mixing colours like this, they will be very watery, but it's also good for building up layers of colour if the first wash is quite light. So I'm going to get lots of navy blue in there. And I want to make a green, so I'm going to add blue and yellow together to make green. And like I said, this makes a lovely khaki green. These two shades I'm using an orangey yellow. And just yeah, when you're mixing colours, the lighter colour that you add, for example, making green, the more yellow will make it a lighter green, and the more blue will make it darker. Bear that in mind. There we go. That's a nice green, like camouflage green. Lovely. Okay, and I think I'm going to do this side of the face, which is my proportional side. I'm going to do this in this green. Really nice. And like I say, they can be quite watery, as we're using a lot of water to mix them. So the first wash or the first layer of colour is likely to be very, very light, but that's fine. We can leave that and come back and add more layers, or in this instance, I'm going to come back and put on areas or that there are likely to be shadow on the face, to add to the dimensions, to make it look more 3D. And as well, if you look at some of Picasso's pictures, he uses some really lovely pattern on some of his pictures. There's different grid patterns and lines going down the faces or the clothes. Or like I say, we want our work to be inspired by Picasso today. We want it also to be your work and a picture of you, a portrait of you. So if there's any particular patterns that you like or colours that you like, please do feel free to use those. There we go. And I'm going to leave that to dry now. For the other side of the face, I think I'm going to do green. I think I'm going to do a pink or a red. I want to get a pink, so I'm going to use some red, and I'm going to add some white to it to get the shade of pink that I want. So if you ever want to make a colour lighter, you can do that by either watering it down like this, just adding more water, or adding some white on top. And I'm going to use pink because pink and red and green or pink and green are complementary colours, which means they look beautiful together. So fashion designers, interior designers, artists will use these colours together. I'm going to bear this in mind. I'm going to get some white to make it a bit lighter. There we go. Use a bit of pink on this side of the face. Remembering the green on the other side is still quite wet, so I'm going to not go right up to the line. I don't want them to run into each other. If you do have any paint that overruns, you can just use a little bit of toilet tissue or kitchen roll. Works really well. Just dab it off, but it's still wet and it just comes off really easily. There we go. And for the neck, I might do a slightly darker shade of green, so I'm just going to add a little bit of blue in to my green here to make it darker. It's a nice khaki greyish tone. Use that on the neck. Some on the hair as well. Oh, this grey. These two shades of green, the greyish khaki green that I'm using now, and the more pea green, they look really, really good together. There we go. And remember, like I've done here, you guys have got a bit more time than me, so take as long as you need. Different details, like I've done circles around the eyes, different patterns on parts of the faces. I might incorporate some of these patterns in now. I'm thinking where maybe on the cheeks. I'm going to use a thinner brush. I think I'm going to mix up a bit of orange. So for orange we use red and yellow. So get some water down. Again, use any colours that you like. These are just suggestions and ideas. Like I said, I do advise mixing colours. You can have different variations of the same colour, or you could mix a colour, for example, orange, and then use your orange. And if you've got a ready mixed orange in your painting, use that one as well. And we'll have the combination of colours. So I'm just going to get some red. Some yellow, and the more red I add, the darker it will be, and the more yellow, the lighter and brighter my orange will be. Still want a bit more yellow in that. Orange. I'm going to use a slightly thinner brush, holding it quite low so I've got a bit of control, and I'm going to add some patterns onto the cheeks. So the patterns could be anywhere. You know, you could have half of the face with a pattern, like a grid pattern, or the clothes. I think I'm going to do the ears. Of orange, and the complementary colour of orange is blue, so these are colours which are opposite each other on a colour wheel, and yeah, blue and orange look fantastic together. They're my two favourite colours, so I think I'll use a bit of blue as I've used the orange to go with that. And then there's a nice combination of warm and cool colours here. I might add a few more warm, a few more red and orange tones. So a bit of navy blue. Remember, the first wash is very light normally, and then we can build up the colour if we need to as it dries. Okay. And for the clothes, I think I might add a bit of pattern on as well. I think Thinking about things that I like here. I'd like to use a few more warm colours, so I might use a bit of this orange that I've mixed. Maybe section off. So it's going to do some vertical lines down. So this orange is quite light, it's quite watery. I can build up the layers once it's dried. Do it like a grid like this. Like I say, blue and orange look fabulous together, so I'm going to add a bit of blue. I'm going to use another blue from my paint tin. There's a lighter blue in there, or if you want to make the colour, if you want to make a lighter blue yourself, just add a bit of water. There we go. And as it's starting to dry a little bit, I want to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional, so I'm going to add some different shades of the same colour in on the curves of the face. So I think with my green, I'm using a bit more of this bluey green that we did for the hair and the neck, and I might just do some on the face like this. It's a bit like when we add shadow to the areas of shadow, it helps give the picture a bit more dimension. And like I say, with cubist pictures, with portraits, they tend to be depicting something that's a picture, a person, and drawing all the 3D elements as 2D. I'm going to use on the pink that I've mixed. I think I'll do just around the outside. I'm going to use a red or a reddy pink that I've not diluted. So then we've got that lovely contrast of colours as well. On this eyebrow, and same with the clothes as well. We can make them look a bit more 3D, so I'm going to just add some more layers of the blue on down the side. And like I said, this really adds to the dimension and the depth of the artwork when we do that. And lastly, I recommend doing a background colour, something very light, so it doesn't detract too much attention away from your lovely pictures. I think I might do mine in a mustard yellow, so yellows, creams. It's quite bright actually. The colour's quite bright, so I'm going to add a bit of water and just water it down. And you can just add a background colour. If your picture has got a lot of pattern and detail on, you might think that's enough. Or if you want, you can add some pattern. Just keep it quite simple if you choose to do that, because if there's too much pattern, it can detract attention away from your picture. So maybe just a few simple shapes. I will give you some examples in a minute, but it's good to add just a light colour like a light orange or yellow, beige or grey to the background. And try not to use a colour that you've used too much of on your picture as well. For example, if I did a green or a pink like I've done on the face, or a blue in the background, then we'd lose the detail. We wouldn't be able to see it. It would camouflage in. Our person would camouflage in to the background. Go. And things I do next, I might mix up some more orange, because like I say, the orange is quite watery one there. I think it could do with some more layers, so that's a thing I would do later on when this is dried. I might add a little bit of colour to the eyes. I'm going to try not to spend too long, so I know you guys will want to be getting on with yours. I'm going to give this one red eyes. He looks quite demonic actually. And let's cool that down with a blue eye on the other side. I'm going to alternate this, so I put an orange inside the ear on one side, I'll do a blue on the outside. And it's still a bit wet there, so I'll wait for that to dry on the inside before I add more. And if you did, I mean, we could leave it like this. Half the face looks a bit like Frankenstein, doesn't he? I could leave it like this, or if you want to add a bit more pattern, like I said, I'm going to go with another neutral colour again. I might use one of my yellows and just do some dabs of colour, or actually I quite like some larger ovals like this. Like I say, nothing too overpowering, so we don't want to detract attention away from our character, our portrait. And yeah, what I think I do now with mine is wait for it to dry, go over some of the layers of paint a bit more. And with the orange, I can see that's quite watery. When it dries, I mix up some more orange and build up the layers so it pops a bit more. But there we go. 8 different portraits or characters. So I really hope you've enjoyed today, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. And I will see you very shortly. Take care.